Welcome back to a dry delight. We've just had a lovely time with Mayor. That was the first time we met him. He tried to sweet talk us. He bought us like 3 drinks. They were all disgusting, and we couldn't get any information out of him. So hopefully today or tonight we might be able to, but we have to go get a cake first, a Casada cake. And that's what we're gonna be. If you haven't watched this video before, I hope you enjoy watching this with me. Meanwhile, we're with Richter right now, so let's go ahead and get started. Richter is just waking up from probably a hangover. Why is our office so goddamn bright? Ah, my head. The things I do for this job, I swear. As I sit in my chair, sipping my morning coffee and trying to ignore this horrible hangover, my eyes drift up to the clock. Leslie's even later than normal. I hope nothing's wrong. If he doesn't come in soon, maybe I should just go leave a note and go nap in my car. There he is. Good morning. As if I'd summoned him from the bowels of sunny hell, Leslie suddenly burst into the office. In one hand, he's holding a stack of paperwork, and in the other, probably a donut if I had to guess. Is that a cake? Oh, come on, give me Casada cake. Yeah, fresh from Frank's Bakery, I tell you. Those fellows really nailed the whatever this is. Leslie reaches into the paper bag to grab a piece and happily stuffs his face, cheering away with relish. That's the exact same cake Mayor asked for last night, isn't it? Is this some kind of conspiracy? Is every man in Cleveland eating these cakes except for me? Pausing, Leslie leans in to peer at my face, frowning gently. You look a little under the weather, Richter. Your hair's all messy too, and I haven't even gotten my hands on it yet. Don't know why I'm making him like a Southern belle, but whatever. Wait, don't tell me you're not hungover, are you? Richter, you naughty boy. Listen, boss, could we just get to our reports? Changing the subject, I see, absolutely shameless. Leslie, who seems to think my hangover is the funniest thing in the world, chuckles all the way over to his office chair. Yeah, laugh it out of your system while I sit here, hoping for a spontaneous eclipse. I'll let you start off then, my little partying partner. What did you find out last night in between shots, that is? Ahem. Well, from what I heard, it sounds like the Italians aren't running the speakeasy or even most of the liquor business. If I had to guess, it's either a big street gang or the Jewish mafia. The Jewish mafia? If that's true, they've been growing in size around here lately, or so I've heard. What makes you think it's them, though? I heard a couple fellas talking about the Italian mafia as competition, so it can't be the Italian mafia. After that, the man I drank with, he was Jewish, and I have a pretty strong feeling he's some kind of mobster. Oh, tell me more. Perking up curiously, Leslie props his chin on his hands and leans forwards to gaze at me from across the desk. He's got a bit of whipped cream on one corner of his mouth, but I pretend to not notice. Guy said his name was Mayor, for starters. He was well dressed, a little too confident, and should I tell Leslie about the flirting? I mean, he doesn't really need to know, but I'd sort of like to enjoy the memory without being scolded, and he seemed important. We're not gonna say he flirted with me. He did technically flirt with me. We're gonna say he seemed important though. That seems, we gotta keep business away from pleasure, obviously. So it makes sense that we would go with he seemed important. I think he's important, maybe a spy, maybe an assassin, not really sure. Important, What do you why do you think he was talking to you? Beats me, maybe you just wanted a drinking partner. Leslie drums his fingers on his desk, frowning thoughtfully. He didn't see through your cover? Sure didn't act like it if he did, and I'm still alive, right? Fair point, maybe your lying skills have improved. His chair squeaks as he leans back, propping up his feet on his desk. And I just cleaned the mud off of it yesterday too. So he's important, maybe part of a mafia, but he didn't bump you off. What does bump you off mean? To bump off is slang to kill. Okay. What do you plan to do about him? I was getting to that. Ooh, I'm listening. He gestures for me to continue. Mayor offered me a deal for information. A deal? You're serious? I nod, barely resisting the urge to rub my forehead. Details on the mob in exchange for... This is so ridiculous I can barely say it out loud. In exchange for a cake. Come off it, Richter. Tell me exactly what he wanted. I know you're trying to get revenge for me teasing you, but I'm being serious, boss. He wanted a cake. Pointing at the paper bag that holds Leslie's half-eating breakfast, I put on the straightest face I could manage. It's from the neighborhood around Little Italy, right? Obviously, that place was owned by the Italian gangs, so we can't get too close, but as far as why he wants one, I've got no clue, boss. Maybe a kid at home who likes them, sweet tooth, forbidden fruit. It reeks of a setup, Richter, isn't that obvious? Leslie wrinkles his nose about the reaction I'd expected, and really not an unfair one. I thought about that, but okay, you thought about that, Richter. Me, Ddog, did not think. I was just gonna innocently walk into this store, grab a cake for this dude, come back, try to get the information. What? Am I an idiot? Don't answer that. I am, but still. But if it was a setup, why would he invite me back? Wouldn't it have been easier to get rid of me right here? And he could have made his offer sound more serious too. Anyone with a half brain would have been suspicious. Well, guess I don't have a half brain then. That's true, I suppose. I still don't like it though, not one bit. He lets out a heavy sigh, sticking a hand into the bag with his cake and tearing off a piece to idly munch on. Well, while you're having the time of your life last night, I was chatting with Mr. FBI. Apparently, one of the city's politicians is hosting a big party at a hotel tonight. Thanks to our contact, I've got us passes inside. Because you know what's going to be at that party, my dear Richter. A lot of liquor. A hell of a lot of liquor, probably provided by the main source in Cleveland. Leslie and I exchange knowing looks. I can already see what he's getting at. So you want to scope it out for information. It's a good bet and a safe one. Once the folks get drunk, there's no telling what kind of juicy information we can get out of them. If we're lucky, some of it might be related to our case. I wouldn't count on it. We snicker in our line of work. Both of us have seen our fair share of these ritzy orgies. I think you should come into the party with me tonight. With your smarts and my good looks, we're bound to find something out. So now I need to figure out, do I go to the party with him or do I get that cake and go back and see that guy? And if you want my honest opinion, Leslie goes thoughtfully silent for a moment, then, and a more serious look darkens his brow. I think this rendezvous at the Speak is too risky. Even if Mayor doesn't mean you any harm, any other mob types around there might not feel the same way. But I also don't think you're green enough to walk into a death trap. Gee, thanks, boss. When I roll my eyes, Leslie offers me a soft, affectionate smile, the kind he only puts on once in a blue moon. I'm heading to the party either way, but I trust your judgment, Richter. You can decide for yourself where to go tonight. What it'll be. As much as I hate to disappoint Leslie, my instincts are telling me the speakeasy's worth the gamble. It's a risk, no doubt about it, but one I feel I have to take. Oh, goodness. Shifting out of my chair, I approach Leslie's desk and lean over it, giving him a firm look to show my conviction. Sorry, boss. I'm gonna try my luck with Mayor. There's a lead there, I just know it. I wonder if I was mean to Mayor and nice to him, I would be going down his route instead. Like I expected, Leslie doesn't look too thrilled by my choice. But true to his word, he soon lets out a good-natured sigh. Heartlessly leaving your partner in the dust, so that's what it's come to, eh? Fine, I'll enjoy the free party food for myself. Not even going to bring me back a sandwich. Ask your new friend for one. Leslie huffs, and I snicker at his playful sulkiness, although I have to wonder if a little bit of it isn't genuine. All right. But if you go, promise me you'll station a few officers near the speakeasy just in case something goes wrong. You never know when trouble might pop up. Yeah, that's fair. I'll make the calls this morning. Good boy. Then I won't I'll worry less about you. He reaches out to ruffle my hair. Why? You've said good boy, you're ruffling my hair. I am not a dog. My name's Ddog. I'm not a dog. Richter's not a dog. Luckily, if it wasn't already messy, so he can't inflict much more damage. Now, let's cannonball into that sack of paperwork. Been looking forward to it all morning. We spend the rest of the day going through reports, most of them related to the Italian gang activity on the east side. It doesn't exactly put me at ease for when I leave the office, heading towards Little Italy to pick up Mayor's cake. I keep picturing his face, and my mind wanders to how he might react when I hand this to him. Will it really make him happy? Aside from those disturbing thoughts, though, my bakery trip is an uneventful one. Prized cargo in hand, I end up at the speakeasy just as the night's settling in. Welcome, sir. Please enjoy your night. The doorman gives his customary greeting and I casually nod while stepping past. Here I am, a detective on a risky job, shuffling into a speakeasy with a cake in a paper bag like some kind of kid holding out into his school lunch. Not my finest moment. The place is packed full just like last night, which means I can't really pick Mayor out easily. I guess if I hang around the bar long enough, maybe he'll show up. Oh, it's Mr. Jack. A coarse voice different from Mayor's growls out behind me. Oh yeah, it's the broody dude. Who's the broody dude? I turned to see one of the rough looking men I noticed last night staring at me suspiciously. I thought you were the doorman. You're not the doorman. You're just one of the probably mafia people, not sure. I'm gonna pat you down, make sure you aren't healed, understand? What does healed mean? Healed refers to being armed. Okay, so make sure you don't have a gun. What? No one did this to me last night. What's the big idea? Would you shut up? I'm not here to answer questions. Yes, sir. Before I get the chance to protest further, he grabs me and starts patting my pockets, roughly feeling around. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna be taking this for tonight. The man pulls out the piece I'd been carrying as insurance just in case things went south. Now I feel more like a defenseless kid. Great. Just don't pull any dumb moves and you'll be fine. We like to keep things real cordial around here, got it? Yeah, I got it. Good, then we'll be heading to the back room. Whatever you... Wait, the back room? Where are you taking me? Wait. Uh-oh. The man suddenly grabs my wrist, pulling me along with the speak's perimeter. My heart starts to pound in my chest. What am I getting dragged into? I told the officers not to get close to the place unless I was gone for a while, but who knows what'll happen in the meantime. My semi-captor takes me to the back of the parlor and down a long, dark corridor. The music and laughter fades away slowly into the distance, replaced by only the sound of our footsteps. Uh-oh. Finally, we reach a large black door, and the man knocks firmly on it several times. Come in. Oh, this place looks nice. The door opens to a warmly lit, spacious parlor. Not exactly the scary, dank room I was expecting. And there, in the middle of the lush couch, sits a familiar tall man. Mr. Eastman, your friend is here. Ah, yes, I can see that. Thank you for bringing him in. Make sure no one intrudes on us if you're so kind. I'm sorry, why are you making this all weird in the back room and stuff? I just wanted to have drinks at a bar. No, I wanted information at the bar. That's different. You didn't hear that. Yes, sir. With a polite nod, the other man departs, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Once he's gone, Mayor and I stare at each other for a few seconds in silence. I can only think that dramatic reintroduction was deliberate. He knows I can read the subtext. Well, I brought your cake. I lift the bag in my hand and shake it a little, laughing nervously. I knew I could count on you. A pleased smile slowly spreads over his lips and the sight makes me relax a little. He pats the couch beside me and I don't exactly feel like I'm in the position to refuse right now. I approach and tentatively lower myself down, sinking into the soft cushions. Why, you're stiff as a sheet of glass. What's wrong, Jack? Your secretary back there wasn't exactly the most gentle of fellas. I apologize. They're used to dealing with the coarser individuals than yourself, you see, and I forgot to tell them to use kid gloves. What is kid gloves? I need to know what that means. Kid gloves, something or someone means to treat it delicately or carefully. The term refers to a gloves made from kid leather, the skin from a young goat, which is extraordinarily soft and smooth, aka use, be nicer. It's not that, I just wasn't quite expecting all this. All of this? You mean a nice back room and a speakeasy? Mayor gives me a faux innocent look. Right, that's obviously what I was referring to. Anyway, here, your prize. I hope it didn't get smushed when your lackey was jostling me around. I offer Mayor the bag with the cake and his eyes light up and he takes it from my hands. Wonderful, I can smell it already. I can't say that, my rabbi used to say, but I like to pretend it doesn't apply to cakes. I need a translation, please. Translate to, it is hard to eat a stranger's bread, popularly used by Jews in St. Louis, Missouri as of 1920. It is hard to eat a stranger's bread. But I like to pretend it doesn't apply to cakes. I'm just gonna keep moving on from that. He gazes longingly at the bag for a moment, then sets it to one side. A smile finds its way onto my lips before I even realize it. The way he likes sweets so much really reminds me of Leslie. Ah, before I forget, I have something for you, Jack. Give me a sweet drink. Mayor leans around the edge of a sofa, grunting softly before straightening back up with a bottle in hand. It's full of a golden liquid, but I don't recognize the label. You wanted something a little sweeter, right? You remembered. I have an excellent memory, especially when it comes to people who catch my interest. Oh, really? He takes a glass from the table beside him and starts to pour me a drink, humming softly. I notice that he's already got a half-empty cup of coffee for himself, black as the night. This is Slivovitz, sweetened with honey. I've never sampled it myself, but one of my men swears by it. Okay, what's this? Communities in Poland before World War II, while often strong and bitter in its normal form, it's sometimes combined with honey to make it sweeter and less pungent. Okay. I prefer to take my sweets in something of a different fashion, though. Mayor hands me the glass, letting his fingers brush against mine for a moment longer than necessary. Ah, thanks, you're quite the host. You expected anything less? He turns a little bit on the sofa, propping one elbow against the back so he can gaze at me head on. Feeling slightly embarrassed under his stare, I take a curious sip of the drink. Damn, it goes down so easy. Good enough that I can see why you're not serving it out there. A man has to make a living, unfortunately. Buying and transporting high-quality goods is expensive, not to mention risky. I'd much prefer to serve good liquor over the common swill, but it's not quite feasible yet. He pauses for a thoughtful moment, though his eyes flick back to my face soon after. Well, about that information I owe you, assuming you're still interested in work. As I nurse my drink, Mayor begins to describe the main mafia figures in the city, along with the various rackets they keep up in great detail. Combined with everything else I'd seen tonight, I think it confirms my suspicions. He's near the top of the underworld food chain in Cleveland. He's not even trying to hide it. In fact, I think he's just playing a game with me, seeing how far we can take this before one of us has to state the obvious. Knowing that, you would think I'd be incredibly uncomfortable right now, but for whatever reason, being around Mayor puts me completely at ease. Pause right here for a moment. So, when you have mafia people, right? The whole point of like head mafia people is they need the people around them to feel comfortable. So that way they don't get turned on or like a fight or anything like that, you know? Like they have all the power, but they only have power if like he can be above the people around them, which means the people around them like have to feel comfortable with him. I'm not falling for your trick, Mayor. I'm not. Although I do like that drink you gave us. Maybe it's disarming, casual mannerisms, or the soft and smooth way he speaks. There's nothing aggressive or thug-like about him. He's perfectly composed. Occasionally, he shifts on the sofa beside me, brushing my leg with his own in a way that can't possibly be an accident. He's trying to put the moves on you. I can't tell what's going on behind his twinkling green eyes, but there's something playfully devious about the glances he keeps giving me. And I think that would make our trade just about even, no? He finishes his thorough description with an impish wink, taking a sip of his coffee. You sure are familiar with all the gang activity here, aren't you? If I don't know better, I'd almost think you controlled some of it yourself. Me? Why, I'm not sure what would lead you to such an outrageous conclusion. Instead of looking offended, though, Mayor presses in a little closer, his smirk suddenly growing mischievous. After all, it's rather rash to assume things about people you don't know particularly well. Don't you agree, Richter? Oh, come on. We used a fake name. We've been caught. Yeah, that's the way you go. How do you? He smugly lifts the cake bag, rustling it before my face. Your name's on the label. Richter, you idiot. Why? You're an undercover cop, and yet you didn't use your fake name for the thing you were going to give the person you're undercover with? You a dum-dum. A mistake I wouldn't expect from you, if you'll pardon my rudeness. Were you distracted at the time you purchased it? I'm not about to mention how I was daydreaming about him when I bought the cake. I'd rather think I just let my professional pride take the fall. Ah, of course, I know you're a detective too, and can guess why you're here. But please don't take it as a blow to your acting skills. I'm just well acquainted with a number of professional liars, you see. If you already know so much about me, why are you pouring me drinks rather than having me shot and dumped in an alley? It's because he thinks we're cute. Mayor clicks his tongue, lightly wagging his finger at me. Violence is not how I prefer to do business, Richter. It's only ever a temporary solution. Violence begets violence, which is why you have warring Italian crime families rather than one consolidated powerful body. No, in most circumstances, I would rather much make friends than enemies, friends like you, which is why you're not being, quote, dumped in an alley. Although I would never harm a schmeipuno like you, no matter what my moral code was. I don't know what that word means. It's Yiddish, which means pretty face. He complimented me and called me pretty. Thanks. Appreciate it. Wait, no, we gotta be firm in our actions. He shifts on the sofa again, this time letting his legs stay resting against my own. Eyes shallow, relieved at Mayor's explanation, but acutely aware of his face being a few inches to my right. You certainly aren't like any other guy I've met, law-abiding or otherwise. Why don't you tell me more about what it's like being in this risky business? I clumsily attempt to slide the conversation in another direction, daring to glance over at Mayor. No, please. I know a one-sided agreement when I see one. What's the gloating air of With the gloating air of someone who's just caught their opponent cheating, Mayor shakes his head. I'll answer a few questions of yours, but only on the condition I can ask questions of my own. I swear on my honor to answer them with the truth, and you'll do the same, but we can each avoid one question in exchange for a favor. Does that strike you as fair? Okay, so ask questions to each other. We can avoid a question, but we have to do a favor instead. Great. This is just high school truth or dare. I got this. Let's go. His tone casually rises up at the end, not so subtly daring me to accept. I think I'd be an idiot to expect a businessman like yourself to play fair, but all right, I'll bite. Wow, Richter, you're an idiot. That's what I'd like to hear. Mayor gives me a rakish teasing grin, all too pleased with my reply. As a gesture of goodwill, I'll even let you start. Really, how do you make any money with this kind of generosity? Oh, you'd be surprised. As Mayor chuckles to himself, I pause and ponder on just what to ask. What do I want to know most about? Ask about his gang or ask about his history? I feel like asking about his gang, that would give us information specifically about him, but also, like, he's probably going to tell us the truth, right? Unless he's just sweet talking us for no reason. But if I ask about his history, that doesn't really help us with the case. I'm going to go with his gang. Why don't you tell me more about your organization here? The organization, I see you're already using proper terminology. He purrs at me with amusement in his voice, more teasing than patronizing. After a moment, Mayor clears his throat, gesturing around the room as if to evoke the image of a large group. We've had our involvement in the variety of industries you might find to be unsavory. I won't attempt to deny that. And I'd be insulting your intelligence to proclaim otherwise. Man, I cannot speak on right now. But here in Cleveland and some other parts of the nation, we see our trade as a proper business, something to be discussed with cigars instead of shotguns. Vice, after all, is there to be commercialized, just like anything else people want. Correct. Any sort of vice can be something that you can make a profit off of, whether it be alcohol, cigarettes, gambling, whatever. That's why gambling, illegal gambling, was a big thing. It could still be a big thing in places. I don't know that often, but it's a vice that someone has because it's addicting. It's like smoking. Mayor's low, calm way of speaking makes me think he sounds entirely natural, like he's a banker or lawyer or other type of respectable professional. Maybe he really does see himself like that. Uh-oh, his turn. I'm not sure how much Jewish history you're familiar with, but over the years, we've dealt with a great deal of hostile sentiments from the Gentiles. And now my men and I face denunciation from our own people, many of whom see us as villains. Maybe that's why our organization is closer than family. But I'm not unhappy. I enjoy what I do for a living, and more importantly, I like to think I'm rather good at it. It takes all types, don't you think, Richter? That's a funny question to be asking a detective. Are you truly a detective right now, though? I am putting information first, sir. Your smooth talk is not going to do anything, even though I'm technically, like, we're very clear here. But still, aren't you just a man enjoying a conversation with his fellow man? He quirks one eyebrow at me provocatively, taking another sip of his coffee, maybe to hide a smile. Yeah, look away. He may be right in a way. After all, if I were really here to do my job, I wouldn't be drinking with a mob boss now, would I? Yeah, things got out of hand very quickly. You know, I'd always separated mobsters from real people in my head, like you were all just mobsters who'd lost your humanity. But listening to you talk, I guess it makes me realize that we're not so different after all. I twirl my glass between my fingers, unsure if that knowledge makes me more happy or grim. Mayor studies me in silence for a little while. It's not an awkward silence, though just a thoughtful one. Well, your turn. Gotta love the questions game. For a question, you have one? Oh, I have many. When the silence finally breaks, Mayor gives a wry grin, his eyes momentarily flicking down to my mouth. Yeah, I'm listening. All right, what's your greatest fear? My greatest fear? He nods, watching me expectantly. No immediate answer pops into my head, so I mull over the question for a moment. My greatest fear, something that would keep me from sleeping at night. Hurting innocent people. Oh, good answer, Batman. Not Batman. We're not Batman. Kind of Batman. You're not Batman, though. Oh. I nod, forcing a brief, awkward smile as I take another sip of my drink. Mayor doesn't add anything further, though. Is he waiting for me to elaborate? I just think it's my duty, the duty of everyone in law enforcement, to make sure Americans are safe and happy. That's why we exist. It's not just a job to do for money. It's a job that lets you go home feeling better about the world, even if it's just a little bit. Mayor tilts his head a little to one side, eyes glimmering at me. Then his hand slips onto my shoulder, resting there gently for a few seconds before squeezing it. Excuse me, sir. Who said you could touch me? There's a bubble. Very admirable, Richter. Although I would have to wonder just where Volstead fits into that. He trails off curiously. Is he trying to lead me somewhere with that vague comment? Well, it's your turn, isn't it? Why don't you ask me something lighthearted? I don't mind if you get more personal. He leans in a little more, hand still lingering on my shoulder. Sir, your leg is up against me, your hand's on my shoulder. Like 3 more steps and you're going to be straddling me. You need to, take a few steps back. Take a breath. I can smell his light cologne and the subtle, earthy scent of coffee. I've been trying desperately to keep my nerves under control, but it's getting harder and harder the more Mayor teases into my personal space, right? You have a bubble and he is popping the bubble. Ask if he has a lover, ask what his favorite activity is. Let's ask if he has a lover. You know, you gotta think, we could use it. We could use it as collateral, because if he turns on us, we can murder that. No, because that'd be hurting innocent people. We could, you know what? We can use it as information. Do you have a lover, a wife? You must be right, being the cat's meow and all. No. Mayor responds casually, offering a little shrug when I shoot a glance over at him. Is it my imagination, or does he look incredibly smug right now? Why are you wearing that expression? Are you so very surprised, or maybe you're relieved? No, just surprised is all. I really don't think you'd still be a bachelor. Why is that? Because I'm the cat's meow? Can we just get on with the next question? That's the correct response. Pausing, Mayor makes a show of tapping a finger against his bottom lip, turning his eyes towards the ceiling. Such an obvious display that I know for a fact he's already got his question picked out, and he's just toying with me. I drain the last of my glass in an attempt to act casual, turning my head away slightly. I've got one. What memory do you have of your first kiss? Please describe it in great detail. The first kiss question. One that's always awkward. I nearly choke on my drink. So this is what he was planning all along? I'm listening very attentively. Hold on. Damn it, I know this is what he wants me to say, but it'll be a cold day in hell before I tell this guy I've never properly kissed anyone before. Really? Really? Is that what we're going with here? Is the stars perfectly aligning, but like stereotypically? Come on, we need better than that. Can I just trade the favor? No, Richter. Bad Richter. You know what he's gonna do. Oh, no, we said no. Don't feign surprise, you bastard. In that case, I suppose I'll take you up on that favor right now. Uh-oh. I reflexively squeeze my eyes shut, sucking in a breath. It feels like my chest is going to explode. Richter, what are you doing? I reopen one eye to see Mayor staring at me quizzically. I thought of course he wouldn't. He's too much of a gentleman. Just a little dizzy from the drink. Great recovery. Good job, sir. So what do you want from me for this favor? Well, you'll probably think me a fool for saying this, but reaching for the bag at his right, Mayor lifts it up and sighs, happily slipping his hand inside to unwrap the cake. I'd like you to share it with me. Oh, free cake? I'll take that. Give me free cake. Share the cake? Yes, you can share cake, Richter. Don't be dumb. He nods, pulling back the wrapping to reveal the delicious looking spongy white dessert. I'd feel guilty enjoying it by myself, especially considering you bought it for me, or brought it for me, probably bought it as well. So I prefer to savor it together. Does that sound agreeable? I mean, I brought it, so I know it's not laced with anything, so we're good. I haven't had the thing since lunch, so you're asking the right guy. Should we just cut it in half or what? No. You're going to feed it to me. I mean, I guess it's fine. I blink at Mayor, unsure if I heard him correctly. He gazes back at me calmly. I definitely didn't mishear that, did I? If you want, then should I go get a fork or... that won't be necessary. Come, take a bite. Mayor offers the cake to me along with a daring raise of his eyebrow. I feel like I just walked right into a trap, but I knew that from the beginning, didn't I? And I came here all the same because I wanted it to happen. I take a small bite of the cake, letting the fluffy sweetness rest on my tongue. Then, Mayor gently curls a finger under my chin, gradually closing distance between us. His chest presses against mine, pinning me to the back of the sofa. There's no need to be embarrassed, Richter. He breathes those words against my cheek, pulling my jaw down ever so slightly to part my lips. Sir, we were having cake. This is not the type of cake I was signed up for. I wanted the food kind. Slowly, delicately, he covers my mouth with his own. Sweet flavor mingles between our tongues, but my head feels so foggy that I can barely think of how it tastes. Mayor teases me with a maddening light soft kisses, pulling back a little bit each time I press forward. He's really trying to provoke me, isn't he? Well, it's working. Silly Richter. I bat down hard on his lower lip, exhaling a hot, impatient breath. Momentarily, his chest presses harder against mine. His kisses suddenly grow more aggressive, hard and deep, so intense that I have to gasp for air whenever I can. I pull his coat off of his shoulders, grasping needily at his shirt, letting my hands wander all over his powerful body. Richter, we are a family show. Actually, I knew what I signed up for. It's okay. Let's just keep going. Just as his tongue starts to slip into my mouth, he pulls back again, this time breaking into a devilish grin. Good job, sir. Boundaries. If I'd known that you would be so eager, I would have done this a lot sooner. Are we gonna spend the whole night talking or share more of that cake? I can't just support my favorite detective now, can I? It would be horrible if you clapped me in shackles and brought me in for interrogation after all. You sound pretty excited about that idea, actually. This guy wants to, I believe the term is handcuff. It's that Beyonce song, isn't it? I'm not sure. Can you blame me? Mayor swipes a finger through the cake's icing, then presses it past my lips. I suckle on it without hesitation, lapping the sweetness off his fingertip, a faint moan leaking from my throat before I can contain it. Richter. Oh, we're still going. Mayor suddenly leans in for another kiss, trailing his finger along my bottom lip. This time he's the impatient one, his tongue pressing insistently against my lips until I part them. It greedily swirls inside my mouth, tangling with my own tongue as Mayor presses me roughly against the couch. It's like he can't get enough of me and I can't get enough of him. I grasp his hips and keep him pulled forward, wanting more and more. Sir, we're supposed to be getting information. Where does the information come about here? We need information. As we trade eager wet kisses, my mind hazily wanders towards a certain question. What am I really doing? Didn't I just say, what are we doing here? It's like I know. Am I really trying to live out some detective seduced by mobster fantasy? Or is it like Mayor said, are we just two men outside of our opposite professions savoring each other's company? If Leslie could see me right now, I don't know what he'd think, or he'd even find it excusable. I'm pretty sure Leslie would be like, fuck on, dude, you got cake. But if I'm so easily turned away by my duties by a gangster, excuse me, lost my breath there. But if I'm so easily turned away from my duties by a gangster, maybe I was never cut out for this line of work to begin with. Oh, just immediately I give up my job in episode 2 of this. One of Mayor's hands drifts down my chest, slipping around my waist to squeeze my hip. I normally wouldn't do this on a first date, especially since I'd like to give you a reason to come back. He heatedly murmurs a string of words in between between breathless kisses, not giving me a moment to reply. But it doesn't feel like you'll need too much convincing. His fingertips tease along my inner thighs, sending shivers through me from head to toe. Just a little bit higher, a little higher. And somebody's gonna cock block us. Mayor. Mayor's face. That's a great face, sir. A frantic knock at the door makes both of us jerk apart. Mayor smooths back his hair and clothes, sitting back and clearing his throat. Come in. Ooh, it's the Rudy guy. This door instantly flies open and one of Mayor's men bolts inside. Mr. Eastman, there's a bunch of cops sniffing around right outside the joint. I think something's about to go down if we don't stop them. Wait. Those are my guys. Safety precaution. I jump up from the sofa, inwardly kicking myself. Damn it, I should have told them to go home earlier. I lost track of time and shit, there's no excuse. It's all right, Richter. Mayor's gentle voice calls to me reassuringly. Go put your men at ease. Maybe by some grand stroke of fate, you'll end up here again tomorrow and we can resume our talk. He puts on one of his wickedly innocent smiles, winking at me. Thanks. I hope I can see you soon. You doubtlessly will. With a hasty nod, I turn and follow a man to the door, soothing back my own ruffled hair. Luckily for me, those officers probably aren't being paid enough to ask many questions. Oh, and Richter. He calls out to me just as I'm about to cross the threshold, and I glance back to him. Don't forget what your real duty is. Good night. Mayor's men shuffles me along the exit before I have a chance to reply. My real duty? What the hell does he mean by that? Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but those words stick in the back of my mind, even if I leave the speakeasy to reassure the officers I'm all right and defuse the situation. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see Mayor tomorrow and I'll ask him then. My heart's still pounding from the end of our talk. When I finally get home and roll into bed, there's no way I can fall asleep, so I spend the night restlessly tossing and turning. I'd rather be hungover than this, Jesus. Infatuation doesn't fade away half as easy. And I believe it's now the next day. And so this is a long ass episode. Got a little hot and steamy there. That's okay. It's allowed to happen. Although I definitely thought there would be like more than just like, you know, an hour in before like, you know, that. Anywho, if you like this video, click the like button. Makes me feel good about myself. Tell me, comment. I'll read the comments. Do you think I should be with, should that have happened? Are you enjoying this? Is my terrible reading making this more enjoyable? Oh, fuck me. I'm just gonna press the end button now. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Hit the sub button if you haven't already. Goodbye, everybody.